Welcome to the Love, Sex and Freedom podcast. This is where you're going to discover how to bring awakening into the body and into everyday life through powerful tantric teachings. Get ready to release, open and step into your true power. I'll pass you on to Tara and then I'll be available for questions. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate the chance to share my passion.
So maybe we can all take a breath together. And I've been working with Chantel, with Raven for 9 years now, and continuously, endlessly inspired by this work and by what it's bringing into the world and the change that it's making. So really grateful that you're all here to receive this and explore this world of Tantra with us. And just sharing a bit of my own journey, kind of pre-Tantra, pre-meeting Chantel. I spent 10 years on and off in India, just diving into spirituality, Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism, Vipassana, and it was all amazing and such incredible gifts, but there was always something missing. And when I met Raven and Chantel and all of her teachings, it was just like, oh, it just hit me, and it was a soul and a heart remembering. And I remember very strongly feeling, why wasn't I taught this by my parents? Why wasn't I taught this at school? This is fundamental education of how to do life that would make all the difference in my life and across the planet. So very grateful to be a part of this global movement of change. And when we first launched the practitioner training last year, the process and the build-up of that was, in my own journey, was going through all of the tools, the practices, the bodywork protocols myself, which naturally then flowed into my clients. And I can say it was the fastest jump in my soul's evolution. I'm also 45 in my 45 years, but especially 25 years on the spiritual path. And that's what I love about this training, is that it requires us to go on our own journey where embodiment is absolutely at the forefront of that. And that actually the main point of differentiation in this training that I experience with other trainings is that we are called to live and be in integrity with that which we are sharing with others in our own life. So it's really the fast track for our own evolution and expanding into the limitless possibilities of joy I'm now understanding and experiencing in my own life. And, you know, the person that I was pre-Tantra, completely different human being, completely different life to the person and life that I now live. So what I'm going to do is guide you through some of the structure around the training so you can get a feel for what it is. So it's a year-long training, of which, as Raven spoke into, it's a synthesis of these incredible traditions and modalities that Chantel has experienced over the last 20 years, that her superpower, as those of you who know it, is synthesis. And she has synthesized that in a contemporary context. And what that means is that as a practitioner, you're going to be learning all of these bodywork protocols, all of these practices for yourself, for your clients, that by the end of the training, yes, you've got processes to support people through with their inner child, with their masculine feminine integration, with shadow work, with all of these different aspects. But actually, you then become the creator of your own session unfolding, because the synthesis of all these different modalities means that you're embodying and experiencing the power of psychology, of shamanism, of bodywork, of trauma release within the context of Tantra, where you get to trust your own intuition of how these flow through you. So the other side of the training, which is wonderful for those freedom lovers and those people really committed to love, is that it really allows for you to be your own boss. It allows for you to create your own schedule, and it allows for you to really be in the naturalness of your flow of life and your timing that suits you, so that you can show up for others. And you get a lot of support with how to do that within the training itself. And really what we're supporting people with in this training is also to follow your joy and follow what expands you, and to let go of those parts that's like, well, I should. And those of you who have been in the 9-to-5 realm, there's so much constriction of when you need to work, how long you need to work for, the way it needs to happen. You actually become your own best guide of what's in alignment with you. And when you're in alignment with self, that's the place that your service can really flourish in the world. So there's 12 components, there's 12 modules, one per month. We don't let you fast forward because integration is really important when experiencing these teachings for yourself, for your clients. And with module 1, really this is dropping you into the tradition of Tantra and the lineage of Tantra. And a big part of that is working with the deities, the mantras, and the yantras from which Tantra was birthed. And this is such a core foundation that before we go into bodywork protocols, you're really grounding and holding into your practice, which includes a daily practice that is there for you for the duration of the 12-month training, and really is the point of holding mastery within your own being so that you can support others to do the same. The second module is really then stepping into confidence in being a practitioner, which everyone on their journey of being a practitioner works with this element at some stage. And yeah, the foundations of that is really around creating sacred space and being in your practice with that, and then looking at the inner fears and self-doubts that are holding you back from really shining in your superpower and in your service. So we talk into releasing agenda to fix, which, can come into the psyche when we're supporting others, and really focusing on holding loving presence as the fundamentals of healing is loving presence. And then we speak into also, Raven guides you into issues specifically around mental health, addictions, and accountability with a client. Module 3 is then around session structure to support wholeness. And this is the structure, the 4-part structure of invocation, where we're working with the deities and the mystical energies before we open and dive into the session, or to open the session. And then we go into the conversation stage, is the second segment, where a lot of your own inner journey and understanding of the philosophy of Tantra comes into play, so that you can see what the person's pain point is and which direction to take the session into. We then move into the activation stage, and this is where we're vibrating whatever is there that hasn't felt safe to be felt. You are holding space and guiding that person in the safety of your loving presence, for them to feel that and to drop into the layers of the feeling body, emotional body, and physical body to access the unconscious parts that are now ready to be seen, that are now ready to be felt, that are now ready to be expressed, so that they can release and actually see what they're needing beneath that. And this activation stage is where all the different bodywork protocols come in, that through your understanding of them, your self-experience of them, and your intuition, you can guide them into whichever one feels relevant and pertinent for your client at that point in time. And then the fourth stage, super important stage, is integration, where there's now an openness through the shedding of layers and the expression, that now new beliefs and expanded beliefs can start to anchor into the nervous system, and there is a deep relaxation into self, and this is where rewiring happens. So this module is really the structure that then the rest of the training follows, and that as a practitioner you come back to again and again and again. Module 4, we move into the really important aspects, which I think is very defining of this training, which is safety and integrity. And we look at all the different aspects of this in your own being and in relating to a client. And that includes navigating boundaries, consent and attunement, and the importance of discernment when working with sexual energy. And there's a lot of great content in there that you'll get to experience and become familiar with, and especially around working with the nervous system, trauma, and stress responses. Module 5, we start moving into the unconscious. And in essence, this is shadow work, and looking at all of these denied, disowned aspects of your client's psyche that in the container of your loving presence and safety, they may be accessing for the first time. And this is one of my favorite modules. You know, there's so many techniques here that we can use, that you get to use around first dialogue, shadow work, the emotional body, healing sexual trauma, and working with debilitating beliefs and patterns that then the client gets to really recalibrate and move into a more open, expanded beliefs and patterns. Module 6 is then Raven's key bodywork protocols. And these are the essential techniques that work with emotional trauma that otherwise in a lot of modalities go unacknowledged. So tantric massage is so transformational, where we're bringing loving presence and touch to allow sexual energy to be moved throughout the entire physical and energetic body. And your client gets an experience to receive, and what it is to receive and surrender to pleasure throughout the body. And that can bring up a whole heap of suite of things in the unconscious that's ready to be revealed. There's heart de-armoring and breast massage. There's inner child integration. There's awakening kundalini. And each of these has really specific benefits to the client that will take them on a deepening in their inner journey. So then we move into more specifics. So module 7 and 8 are key practices for the feminine. So this is mostly for female clients, but it's also for the feminine in men. And this is when in female bodies, you're guiding your client into connection, conversation, and unraveling of that relationship between their inner feminine and their inner masculine. This is where womb healing comes in, releasing past lovers, yoni attunement, and affecting and connecting to that feminine radiance and bliss. And then the same for module 8, but with men, or the masculine in women. And this is really working with around sexual energy to do with sublimation and releasing porn addiction. It's working with rewiring sexual guilt and shame, which is a big part in the male psyche. And then also cultivating and trusting the inner feminine, as well as initiating that divine masculine of witnessing and presence through meditation. So these are amazing specific protocols that are key for working with feminine and with masculine. Module 9 and 10 is couples work. And these are beautiful. I really love couples work and couples immersions, actually. We're diving into deeper containers of this work. And module 9 is around communication practices for couples. And this is brilliant. This is where, first of all, we look at, okay, there's a technique that you can use that looks at animal, heart, and consciousness to see, first of all, is there compatibility between a couple? And then different techniques where the couple get to, sometimes for the first time ever, experience vulnerable sharing and reflective listening, and practices that you can facilitate for them that they can then take home and practice themselves. And also around gratitude and making healthy requests. And then also there's a beautiful practice which is around, first of all, releasing stress responses that's held within the couple's container, and then role reversal, which is really stepping into the other person's shoes and experiencing what they could be experiencing, which is really, really eye-opening for many couples. And then module 10, we're going into intimacy practices. So this is to really support the client in their connection, in romance, in heightening sexual polarity, in looking at this foursome between the man's feminine and masculine and the woman's feminine and masculine, and what's going on there, and looking at energy circulation, fantasies, desires, boundaries, worshipful devotion, and then there's a whole series of love appointments that you can then work with couples to then they take home and practice in the bedroom. The last two modules are working with shamanic energetics, and there's some beautiful bodywork protocols here and practices, which is for your own journey where you really open to being a channel for grace and intuition. And by this stage in the training, that will naturally be happening in your being through the synthesis and integration of the previous 10 modules. But there's some journeys that Chantel takes you on to really activate that at a deeper state, where the mind is no longer going, oh, okay, should I be doing this for module 7 or module 3 or module 8? And you're opening to being a clear channel for spirit to move through in that moment and really trusting and following that. And yeah, wow, it's awe-inspiring every time what comes from that space. And we move into the chakra system, how to work with your energetic field and how to guide a client on a shamanic journey. And then towards the end of the 12 months, we're really here anchoring into you and reminding you what it is to be a master practitioner. And this really works with you owning what your unique superpower is, because through the training, you're going to see demonstrations of Chantel doing every one of the bodywork protocols on a client. But the key here is that you find your unique superpower. It doesn't have to look like how she does it. It doesn't have to look like how I do it. It doesn't have to look like how Erin does it, who you'll be meeting in a moment. You know, like everyone has their unique gifts that they get to bring through this training, through everything that you're learning to your client. And then we go into more of the logistics of pre-session intake forms and discovery calls, how you best do that, post-session homework and testimonials and how you work with your clients with that. and feeling confident to charge what you're worth. It's a journey for every practitioner, myself included, that I've known. So really giving you support in that. So let's take one more breath. That was a lot of information receiving around some of the core aspects of the 12-month journey. And I just want to speak into two other aspects. So there's the 12-month practitioner training, but alongside that, you get access as soon as you, so that starts, the 12-month practitioner training starts the 1st of February, where the first module is unlocked and you start to work with that content. But as soon as you join the training, you get access to the 8-week courses and to our short courses. And none of this part is assessed, but you'll hear Chantel talking about the 8-week courses and short courses all the way through your 12 months, because this is where you really get to dive into your own embodiment around power, around relationships, around sexuality, and around business. And these all come with a daily practice. They all come with guided meditations for you to go through somatic experiences, teaching videos. Each of them come with a 150-page manual. And really, these are kind of like your individual Bibles on heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral, and throat chakra of your expression in the world. And this gives you the framework and the understanding of the tantric wisdom and teachings around this that will really come into that second stage of the session structure, which is conversation, and help you be able to give feedback and guidance to your client. And then these are the short courses that are really diving specifically into teachings around sex, money, power, sexual healing, magnetic joy, and mental health, which are 4 kind of key components of life that there's extra attention provided to in these short courses. So the training is certified with the International Institute for Complementary Therapists. So once you complete and pass all the compulsory assessments, you will receive a certificate of completion from us, for which you can then, if that's something that you want to receive, the certification, then you get to apply for that through IICT, International Institute for Complementary Therapists, to receive that. And the assessment requirements that you view all of the learning material of the practitioner training, so module 1 to 12, and that's tracked through the platform. And then for each module of 1 to 12, there's 5 questions that you get to type and answer. It's all on the platform, and then just hit submit. And our team, our assessment team, will then give you feedback on them, so that each module you're getting feedback from people to make sure that you're on track. From module 3 onwards, this is where the session structure and the bodywork protocols start. You will be doing practice sessions with clients. And so for each of these modules, from module 3 to 11, we get you to submit 1 self-reflection form, which we give you, and it helps you to reflect on the different parts of the session structure and how you went, paired with 1 client feedback form where your client does the same thing. And again, you submit them, we get to review them and give you feedback, so that every module you're expanding and progressing in your body work and in your session skills. And the final assessment is to submit a recorded video of a session that, again, we watch and give the final certification and approval to. And as I said before, the non-compulsory sections are the 8-week courses and the short courses, which are an absolute must on your journey, but they're not compulsive for assessment and certification. This is your team. So you've met Chantel, you're now meeting me. You'll be meeting Erin soon, who's actually my sister, my blood sister, not my soul sister, also my soul sister. And yeah, the 3 of us are really the pillars of holding you on this journey. We're here every step of the way with you. So I'd now just like to touch on what you're getting as part of the practitioner training, because there's various elements. So I've tried my best to break it down in pretty slides for you to receive what that is. So Chantel likes to connect with every individual student. And for this training, she will be doing a one-on-one session with every student so that she can help guide you on how to best utilize all the material with the training based on what's going on specifically in your life, in your path, in your past, and where your future path is taking you. So you'll be given access to her schedule to book that in whenever you feel that that's best to be utilized during the training. You've got the 12-month practitioner training, which I've spoken into, the 12 modules. There's 48 videos. There's 30 guided audio meditations. There's bodywork, protocol demonstration videos so that you actually get to see and feel what a session looks like. There's 15 bonus videos from some incredible practitioners so that you're not just hearing it from us, but you're also hearing some of the key concepts in the training that other practitioners who are doing this work in the world are also living by, and you're hearing it from their perspective and their experience. There's also a 315-page practitioner training manual. Raven has definitely a superpower with her manuals. I still, after 9 years, flick through them regularly. And then you have homework and daily practices, exercises every month to really help you integrate the teachings, and then the assessment. Having connection points with us throughout the year training is really important. So you have weekly live calls that will be scheduled across multiple time zones so that every month, no matter what time zone you're in the world, you'll be able to receive at least one of them live. They're all recorded. You get to watch replays. They're all uploaded to your platform where the training is held. And really, Raven comes in for one of these calls per month where essentially she just blasts you with whatever she's channeling in that moment around that module. Definitely don't miss that. Yeah, it's an amazing way to kind of re-inspire and reignite the teachings within that module. I then come in also monthly, a few weeks after, to help you actually experience the bodywork protocols that you're supporting others to do. I hold the container and I guide you through them so that you get to experience that for yourself and you're held in the container yourself. We then have Erin, who comes in also every month doing question and answer training calls with you all. So any of your questions you get to ask, she gets to clarify. This is a great way to all learn from each other and what you're all moving through, because your question is very, very, very often someone else's question. And then we have monthly calls with support, with a pod support group, which is led by one of our practitioners. And Erin, did you want to jump in here and share a bit about the pod support group? Because I think that's a beautiful support here.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you all in the call. I'm sure I'll share more later. But just to speak to these pod groups, we've really thought carefully about these as a way that in smaller groups you can be supported through the journey, particularly based on the location that you are in the world. With the live calls, you'll be able to have about 50% of them in a time zone that's ideal and about 50% in a time zone that might mean getting up in the middle of the night or watching them after the call. So for that reason, we wanted to be able to give you groups of 4 or 5 that you go through who are all in a similar location to you, led by someone who has been through the training and who is a dear part of our academy community. So that's really so that you've got some people that you can be peers with, because we know in an online training you can feel a little bit separated. So these pods, we really feel, will give you that sort of more intimate support as you go through the training, and you'll be able to have the option of working with your practitioner for one-on-one support if that's something that you'd like to invest in, as well as having those monthly calls to really get to know a group of students and a facilitator as you go through the training.
Thanks, Erin. And then the student support. So the student support is really through the pods, as Erin just spoke into, and also through a private Facebook student support group. And we have one of our team in there answering your questions, inspiring the group, and really cultivating communication between you all so that you're receiving support from us, but you're also supporting each other by sharing your experiences. And then lastly, there's the bonus study material, which I've spoken into. There's the bonus practitioner training videos, which are wonderful to see how other practitioners in this community, the healing community, are working with these aspects of the training that you're going to be learning yourself. Then there's the 8-week courses and the short courses. So this bonus material, you do at your own pace, really trust yourself with which course you want to start first. But for those of you who are joining us between now and 1st of February, I highly recommend diving into this material and starting that own inner journey. If you have any specific questions unique to your situation, then please reply to that email and let us know. And we're happy to also jump on a call with you if you have any more specific questions that aren't answered in the Q&A section.
Thanks for listening to the Love, Sex and Freedom podcast. For more great free resources, in-person and online workshops, and our retreats, find us on Instagram and Facebook at Embodied Awakening Academy or visit embodiedawakeningacademy.com.